Atlanta was already full of energy before Spice even hit the stage, but what went down that night took the city's gossip to another level. People love to think the chaos in Atlanta begins and ends with music, but the real fire always comes from the behind-the-scenes talk, the secrets shared in private, the shady comments dropped in interviews, and the cracks that start showing in friendships everyone thought were solid. That concert was meant to be a night of good music and good vibes, but the moment Rasheeda and Kirk walked in, the entire room changed. Everyone felt it. You could almost see the tension hanging in the air. People had heard rumors that something was off between the Frosts and Yandy, but no one expected how fast things would spiral once their names got mentioned together. Spice, being her usual self, wasn't about to let the night pass quietly. She had already told Yandy that the Frosts would be there, and Yandy didn't even blink. She wasn't the type to run or pretend. She said straight up that she was glad they were coming because she was ready to face them and clear the air. No more backroom whispers, no more podcast talk. She wanted everything said to her face. You could tell she'd been holding this in for a while, keeping her cool while people talked. But that night, she came ready. When she looked Spice right in the eye and said she wanted the truth out in the open, everyone could tell she wasn't playing. But Rasheeda didn't last long. She smiled for the cameras, waved at fans, but the second Yandy came close, she disappeared. That's the thing with Rasheeda. She's great when the cameras are rolling, but when it's time to stand by her words, she fades. Her interview clip had already made rounds online. The one where she said she didn't want to be around Yandy with her bad BBL and funky breath. People couldn't believe she actually said that. It wasn't a little shade. It was straight up disrespectful. And the irony didn't go unnoticed because fans quickly reminded her that her own body had been a topic of gossip for years. They'd questioned her natural claims and her sudden shift from rainbow outfits to her boutique boss image. Yandy didn't fire back with yelling or name-calling. After the concert, she sat with Spice in the dressing room, and you could see how deeply hurt she was. It wasn't loud anger. It was quiet pain, the kind that cuts deeper. She told Spice that she had trusted Rasheeda, shared private things with her, only for her to turn around and mock her publicly. You could hear the betrayal in her voice. It wasn't just about the insult, it was about loyalty. Because in Atlanta, loyalty is everything. Once someone you called a sister sells you out for gossip or views, that pain doesn't go away easily. Spice acted innocent, asking what went wrong, pretending like she hadn't already heard the stories. But Yandy wasn't letting that slide. She said straight up that it wasn't random shade. It was all about alliances. Rasheeda had been getting close to Jasmine, the same woman who had caused chaos in Yandy's marriage. Yandy leaned forward, looked her dead in the eye, and said, "Did I stutter? You heard me." That one line changed everything. The tension in the room was so thick you could feel it through the screen. The audience online knew something real had gone down. Within hours, blogs had their headlines ready, and the clips started spreading like wildfire. By the next morning, everyone was talking about it. Leaked videos from the concert flooded social media. Old confessionals, messy edits, and past interviews started resurfacing. People began piecing together the timeline of Yandy and Rasheeda's falling out. The general opinion was clear. This wasn't about looks or plastic surgery rumors. It was about betrayal. It was about someone using friendship as content for clout. Instead of falling apart, Yandy took control. She went into her own comment section and started replying calmly but sharply. When someone accused her of getting surgery, she broke it down clearly. No BBL, no fake teeth, just braces and the effects of motherhood. She was honest. And that honesty made her stronger. She laughed off the rumors, called out how desperate people were to tear her down, and then did what she does best. Turned the whole situation into a power move. She posted confident pictures with captions like, "My heart is pure. My booty is real." Simple words, but delivered with the kind of confidence that stings. Then came the moment that really shook social media. A stylist comment saying, "Tell Rasheeda she's been smelling like earring backs." Everyone online lost it. Anyone who knows that metallic sour smell knew exactly how nasty that comment was. It was brutal shade, and Yandy didn't even have to say it herself. Her people handled it for her. She just reposted it. No rant, no long explanation. She let it sit there, knowing the internet would do the rest. Meanwhile, Rasheeda went quiet. Too quiet. And in Atlanta, silence doesn't mean peace. It means you're losing. The blogs dragged up her old outfits, her rebrand stories, and her habit of throwing shade in confessionals but running from face-to-face confrontation. The narrative started slipping out of her hands. Yandy, on the other side, used the moment to build her image even stronger. She posted a clip saying, "I woke up and chose violence," but she made it clear she wasn't talking about fighting. She was talking about smart moves, business wins, and empire building. She reminded everyone she wasn't about to risk deals or her reputation for petty drama. She had bigger goals. Securing her legacy and her money while others drowned in gossip. That's the difference with Yandy. She knows how to turn hate into headlines that work for her. Fans online were split. Some wanted her to go harder and completely expose Rasheeda. Others said karma was already handling it, that she didn't need to do anything because tables always turn. And then there were fans who were frustrated, saying she was being too calm. They wanted chaos. They wanted her to go off like the old love and hip-hop days. But Yandy's been in the game too long to take that bait. She knows how fast one wrong move can ruin everything she's built. Just when things started to cool off, Jessie Woo jumped into the comments and sparked it all over again. She said she was confused because, from what she knew, Yandy's body was real and always had been. She hinted that maybe the editors twisted things to make it look worse than it really was. Her words poured gasoline on the fire because now people weren't just arguing about what was said. They were questioning what was edited, what was exaggerated, and what was done purely for TV drama. That's when the story stopped being just about Yandy and Rasheeda. It became about how reality TV can twist friendships into storylines and how one moment of shade can turn into a full-blown war that the internet never forgets. That's the dark side of reality TV. Most of the chaos isn't real, but the damage it causes always is. The drama may be scripted or stirred up, but the emotions, the backlash, and the broken friendships that come from it hit differently. Yandy closed part one of this whole situation with a quiet but cutting message that summed it all up. She reminded everyone that people don't switch up overnight. It's something that builds slowly over time. Then she posted a photo with the caption, "Your face when you listen to basics, talk about basics." It was subtle, but everyone knew who she was talking about. It wasn't loud, but it didn't have to be. When everyone's already tuned in, a whisper travels farther than a shout, and Atlanta was listening. Loud and clear. The morning after the concert, the city felt split down the middle. Some people were replaying the video of Rasheeda sneaking out of the venue like she was escaping a scene, while others were analyzing every word Yandy said in that dressing room. The blogs worked overtime. Instagram was a war zone. TikTok was filled with people reenacting the funky BBL cheeks line, and Twitter was drowning in debates about who was right. Some defended Rasheeda, saying she'd just had enough and didn't want to be around someone she couldn't respect anymore. Others called her a hypocrite, who talked big when the cameras were rolling, but disappeared when faced with real confrontation. The comment sections became their own confessionals, strangers choosing sides, writing essays about loyalty, betrayal, and who had crossed the line first. Through all of it, Yandy stayed calm. She didn't argue or break down. Instead, she leaned into it. She started posting photos with smooth captions that looked simple but were full of hidden meaning. Her message was clear. She was focused on building her empire, not tearing people down. One caption read, "Her smile calm, but her eyes sharp." It went viral. Fans who'd watched her grow from reality star to businesswoman understood what she meant. She wasn't going to lose her brand deals or her composure over gossip. She'd learned that the smarter fight is fought with control, not chaos. Still, the internet wanted more. They wanted shouting matches, Instagram lives, exposed DMs, and insults flying in every direction. That's what fans come for, the mess. They wanted to see another love and hip-hop showdown they could turn into memes, but Yandy didn't take the bait. She stayed in control. When someone accused her of secretly getting a BBL, she handled it perfectly. She explained how her body had changed naturally from pregnancy and breastfeeding. Then she ended the comment with a line that instantly became a classic. "Sis, you reaching? Do your arms hurt from that stretch?" The internet lost it. The quote spread everywhere, used in memes, TikToks, and comment threads. Yandy turned an insult into another moment that worked in her favor. Meanwhile, Rasheeda stayed silent, and that silence said more than words could. The same woman who'd thrown jokes in confessionals was nowhere to be found now that people were dragging her. Old clips began resurfacing. Her rainbow-colored reunion outfits, awkward early fashion moments, and scenes from old seasons where her stories didn't land. Everything she'd spent years rebuilding was being torn down by people with screenshots and opinions. Her silence only made things worse. The longer she stayed quiet, the more control she lost over the story. Then Spice jumped into the mix again, pretending she didn't understand what had gone wrong between the two women. She went live, playing confused and acting like she was heartbroken about the fight. But fans weren't buying it. The comments were full of people calling her out for stirring the pot. "Spice, you messy and you know it," one user wrote, and the comment blew up with likes. People were done pretending she wasn't playing both sides. They called her the messenger, the one who carried gossip from one house to another, and sat back to watch the chaos unfold. And then, things got even worse. The rumors about Jasmine resurfaced. The same woman who had once almost wrecked Yandy's marriage. Yandy had mentioned it briefly in the dressing room, but once fans caught that name, social media went crazy. Screenshots started popping up of supposed Bahamas trips. Anonymous accounts claimed they'd seen Rasheeda and Jasmine together. Some said they were planning a new business project. Others said it was just friendship. But in Atlanta, the truth doesn't matter as much as the story people choose to believe. And what they believed was that Rasheeda had crossed a serious line by getting close to someone who once brought chaos to Yandy's marriage. The gossip spread like wildfire. Blogs ran headlines like Rasheeda's secret alliance and Yandy was right all along. Yandy didn't even need to respond directly. She just kept posting photos with her family, clips from her business ventures, and captions that sounded peaceful but carried bite. One post said, "People don't switch up overnight. They've been feeling that way." It looked harmless, but everyone knew it was aimed right at Rasheeda. The comment about Rasheeda smelling like earring backs still hadn't died down either. Memes flooded social media. Pictures of earring backs labeled Rasheeda's new perfume. It was savage. Yandy hadn't written the comment herself, but her quiet repost made it iconic. That's what makes her so sharp. She knows when to talk and when silence hits harder. And her silence after that post was louder than any rant could have been. While Yandy was turning every insult into content that boosted her image, Rasheeda was being pushed into a corner. Her fans begged her to speak, to defend herself, to match Yandy's energy. But every day she stayed quiet, the perception got worse. Some people began whispering that Kirk was the one telling her not to say anything, scared the fight might make things worse for their already shaky reputation. And in Atlanta, nothing kills a woman's image faster than the idea that she can't stand on her own without her man calling the shots. Yandy, meanwhile, was owning every headline. She posted a video with the caption, "I woke up this morning and I chose violence." But she quickly explained in the comments, not the kind that loses deals, the kind that wins wars. Fans went wild. Blogs reposted it. People started praising her for how she handled the feud. Not as a victim, but as a businesswoman who knew how to play the game. The shift was real. She wasn't just surviving the mess. She was turning it into momentum. She was proving that even in chaos, she could move strategically. But the drama wasn't done. Fans wanted more. They wanted Rasheeda to snap back, to face Yandy head-on, to give them the explosion they were waiting for. And behind the scenes, producers were starting to think the same thing. Rumors spread that meetings were happening, that the network wanted to turn the feud into a full story arc for the next season. Because in the love and hip-hop world, pain isn't just pain, it's profit. And so the stage was set. Yandy had shown she could fight smart and keep her image clean. Rasheeda had gone silent, and her silence had become its own story. What started as whispers at a concert had now turned into a full-blown storm, one that was far from over. Spice was catching all the heat, labeled as the troublemaker who lit the fire and then stepped back to watch it burn. But somehow the name everyone couldn't stop whispering about wasn't hers. It was Jasmine's. She wasn't even part of the main drama, yet her name floated around like a ghost no one could ignore. Just when people thought the tension had cooled, something unexpected reignited it all. A mysterious Instagram page appeared out of nowhere, dropping a blurry late-night video that claimed to show Jasmine and Rasheeda together, laughing, drinking, and toasting like nothing was wrong. Nobody could tell if the clip was real or edited, but that didn't matter. The moment it hit the internet, Atlanta lit up. Fans didn't wait for proof. They wanted chaos, and this video gave them exactly that. If it was real, it confirmed everything Yandy had been hinting at. Rasheeda had been cozying up with Jasmine behind her back. And whether or not it was true, the damage was already done. Blogs exploded with headlines. Every gossip page ran with the same story. Rasheeda's secret alliance exposed. Fans swarmed the comments under Rasheeda's latest post. Some defended her, but most didn't hold back. "You built your brand on loyalty," one user wrote, "and now this?" Her silence became its own headline. Every hour she stayed quiet, people assumed guilt. And in Atlanta, silence doesn't protect you. It buries you. Yandy, on the other hand, didn't need to say a word. She knew the game. She let the blogs do her talking and the fans sharpen their knives. Then she dropped one cold caption on her feed. "Tables turn. Bridges burn. Lessons learned." Just 9 words, but they hit like a thunderclap. Within hours, her post went viral. Memes, quotes, threads, it was everywhere. It was the perfect jab without naming names. That's when people realized Yandy wasn't just playing defense. She was playing chess. While Rasheeda tried to hide, Yandy was turning pain into power. But behind the scenes, Rasheeda was cracking. For years, she had been known as the calm one, the businesswoman who rose above the drama. Yet now, the same calm was being used against her. Her silence looked like guilt. Her brand of loyalty was being questioned. And once Atlanta starts whispering betrayal, it's almost impossible to recover. Even Kirk, her husband, reportedly told her to ignore it, to let it pass. But this was Atlanta. It never passes. The more she avoided it, the deeper people dug. Every old interview, every comment, every post was suddenly under the microscope. And the more time passed, the more her empire started to shake. Spice, who tried to play neutral, couldn't escape either. Fans started dragging her too, calling her the one who carried stories from one friend to another. Her name trended as the messy middle. She went live trying to clear her name, saying she just wanted peace, that she never meant for things to go this far. But the internet didn't care. "You started this," one comment said. "Now you want peace?" Others called her the messy queen. No matter how hard she tried to look innocent, people had already made up their minds. Spice had stirred the pot, and now it was boiling over. The feud didn't stay online. It started to hurt their money. Yandy's products began selling out. Fans wanted to support the woman they believed had been wronged. Rasheeda's business, on the other hand, took a hit. Her boutique's page was flooded with clown emojis and comments calling her fake. Old outfits were reposted with captions like "loyalty doesn't come in sizes." What started as drama was now a full-blown business disaster. In Atlanta, reputation equals revenue, and Yandy was cashing in while Rasheeda was losing it all. Then came the final blow. An email leaked from a major brand that had been planning a collaboration with Rasheeda. It showed the company backing out, citing negative publicity and image risk. Whether the email was real or not, it spread fast. Everyone believed it. That's when people realized this wasn't just another feud, it was a career crisis. Yandy, meanwhile, was glowing. She started getting invited to events and panels speaking about women in business and resilience. Without naming anyone, she told her story in a way that everyone knew who she was referring to. Sometimes the ones you eat with, she said, are the same ones who'd rather see you starve. But when your heart is clean, truth always comes out. The crowd roared. The blogs reposted, and fans crowned her the winner right then. Rasheeda could no longer stay quiet. The pressure became too heavy. She finally posted a long caption under a photo with her kids, saying she'd been denying any alliance with Jasmine and promising she had nothing to hide. But it didn't help. The comments were ruthless. Too late, one fan wrote. You should have talked weeks ago. Others said, damage control doesn't work when the ship's already sunk. Her words sounded hollow, her timing off. Then Yandy delivered one final blow, but she did it with a smile. She posted a short video of herself saying just one line, "My heart is pure, and my booty is real, calm, confident, lethal." It was the kind of mic drop moment that doesn't need yelling. The internet lost it. Fans filled the comments with laughing emojis, reposts, and fire reactions. That line became a moment in love and hip-hop history. Simple but unforgettable. Atlanta doesn't forget. In a city where loyalty is currency, Rasheeda had lost it all. She thought silence would protect her. But silence only works when your name is clean. Yandy showed how to flip every insult into a business move. Every post, every caption became part of her comeback. She didn't just survive the feud, she mastered it. When the dust finally settled, one thing was clear. Yandy walked away stronger. Her brand was shining brighter, her empire expanding, her fans louder than ever. Rasheeda was left trying to rebuild what was broken. Her reputation, her friendships, her business. The same people who once praised her for being calm now saw her as weak. In the end, Atlanta made its choice. Yandy didn't just win a feud. She set the standard for how to win without fighting. Rasheeda, Spice, Jasmine, they all became background noise to a story that would be told for years. And as the cameras moved on, one truth remained. In love and hip-hop, the cameras might stop rolling, but the streets never stop talking. And when the streets talk, they decide who stays standing. This time it wasn't even close. Yandy stood tall, crown still shining, while Rasheeda faded into the shadows, a reminder that in Atlanta, loyalty isn't just a word, it's survival.